Hey, it's Coach Reeves. Today I'm going to help you go through review 2.3. I'm going to work half of the problems. It's going to take a little bit of time, but together we're going to make it through this. We'll get you ready for the test. Okay? Number one, they're going to ask you to write each quadratic equation in vertex form. Vertex form is going to look like this. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. That's vertex form. We're going to give it to you on your review sheet. We're going to ask you to substitute in your vertex first. So my first step will look like this. Y equals a. We're going to say x. The opposite is going to give you a plus 8 squared plus 4. Now we still don't know our a value, so we're going to substitute in the point that it's on the graph. This is an x, this is a y. So we're going to substitute that in. My y value is 2, so we're going to say 2 equals a, parentheses, my x is negative 9. Negative 9 plus 8, close it, square it, plus 4. Now before we do any math, I'm going to ask you to move the 4 to the other side so we're not tempted to use it in the wrong order of operation. I'm going to ask you to go minus 4, minus 4. We're going to get this out of the way. We're going to say 2 minus 4 is a negative 2 equals a, parentheses, negative 9 plus 8. Negative 9 plus 8 is a negative 1. Negative 1 squared is a positive 1. So we're going to end up with negative 2 equals a positive 1a, or just a. This is our a value. This is what is missing. Right here in this red equation, the only thing that's missing is the negative 2. So when we put in a negative 2 for the a value, we end up with y equals negative 2, x plus 8 squared plus 4. That's your final answer. Okay? That's how you solve for your a value. Moving along. They're going to ask you to write the equation in standard form. Standard form looks like this. Y equals a x squared plus bx plus c. So we have to convert vertex form to standard form. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do, because of our order of operations, I'm going to ask you to attack that part right there. Okay? There's a couple of ways you can do this. You can do that part by doing distributive property. You can set up the box method. I'm going to do a little quick method right here. Watch what I do. I'm going to ask you to square. I'm going to ask you to square the x. X times x, x squared. I'm going to ask you to multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus x is a positive 6x. I'm going to ask you to square the back end. 3 times 3 is 9. That's the same thing you're going to get if you do distributive property or you do the box method. Okay? Bring down your parentheses, bring down your 2, bring down your minus 11. We're going to distribute. We're going to say 2 times x squared is 2x squared. We're going to say 2 times 6x is a positive 12x. We're going to say 2 times 9 is 18. And then we have our negative or our minus 11 at the back end that we will combine. So my final answer will be y equals 2x squared plus 12x. 18 minus 11 is a 7. This is my final answer. Okay? Next problem. This is going to take us a little bit of work, a little bit of steps here. We're going to write each equation in vertex form, and then we're going to convert this to standard form. It's going to take a little bit of work. The first thing we want to do is we need to find the vertex. In this case, my vertex is going to be at 4, -1. to help me find my A value, I need to find a point that the graph goes through. And this point right here at 3, 1, 2, 3. At 3, -3, it goes through that. It passes through that point, okay? Good. So we're going to say that y equals A. We're going to substitute our vertex of x minus 4 squared minus 1. Almost. I have to find my A value. We're going to use this point that goes to the graph. Okay? We're going to substitute this in. We're going to say that -3 equals A. 3 minus 4 squared minus 1. We're going to remove this. Okay? We're going to remove this so we're not tempted to use it. We're going to say plus 1 plus 1. This is going to cancel. I get -2 equals A. 3 minus 4 is a -1 squared. Just like on a previous problem, -1 times -1 is a +1. So we're going to end up with -2 equals our A value, because this is going to give us a 1A. So we rewrite the equation. We're going to put it right here where the A value is. We're going to put it here. We're going to say that y equals -2. Let's go a little bit lower so we won't run out of room. Y equals a -2 x minus 4 squared minus 1. Just like a problem we did earlier, we have to convert this to standard form. They're asking you to now write it in standard form. This is your vertex form. We're going to convert it to standard form. We're going to ask you to attack this part first. So we're going to square this. We're going to ask you to go x times x is x squared. Multiply 2 times -4 is a -8. -8 times x is a -8x. Square the back. -4 times -4 is a +16. Bring down your -2. Bring down your -1. Now we distribute. -2 times x squared is a -2x squared. -2 times -8 is a +16x. -2 times 16 is a -32. Minus 1. Don't forget that. So when we combine like terms, our final answer is y equals a -2x plus 16x. -32 minus 1 is a -33. There is your final answer. Before we did this, there was your vertex form. Now here's your standard form. Okay? Moving on. Number 7. Write each equation in standard form. So what does this look like? Standard form. Y equals a x squared plus bx plus c. That's standard form. Write each equation in standard form that opens up or down and passes through these ordered pairs. Okay? You've seen this before, but we're practicing it again. This is one we're going to have a 3-equation system that we're going to put into the calculator. First equation, this is an x, this is a y. So we're going to substitute into this form right here. All right, my y value is 27 equals, my x value is 4. My x value is 4. I need to square the x and I get 16. A times 16 is 16a. And then I go b times x. B times 4 is 4b. And then I have c. We don't have a value for c. It's just going to say c every single time. We don't mess with the c number or the variable. Next equation. Okay? Next equation is this. My y value is -3. So I'm going to say -3 equals My x, I need to square the x. It's 9. 9 times 9 is 81. So this is going to get me 81a. And then I go b times 9 is going to give me 9b plus c. Remember, we don't mess with the c. Our third ordered pair. This is my x, this is my y. We're going to say 27 equals, I need to square my x. 12 times 12 is 144. A. We're going to say b times 12 is 12b plus c. There are my three equations. This is the tough part because it takes a little time to set this up. We're going to put this in our calculator, but what I'm going to ask you to do when you put it in the calculator, I'm asking you to change this to an x, change your a's to x's, change your b's to y's, and change your c's to z's. So when you put this in the calculator, this is what you're going to get back out. It's going to spit out this, and it's going to say this is your x, this is your y, this is your z. Excuse me, this is your y, this is your z. And slow down. But in realistic, this used to be an A, this used to be a B, this used to be a C. So really, this is A, this is B, and this is C. We're going to take that and we're going to put it A, B, C. We're going to substitute it so we can have our standard form. We will write it like this. Y equals, instead of A, we're going to write the 2. That'll be 2x squared. Instead of B, we're going to write negative 32, so that's negative 32x. And instead of C, we're going to write 123. There is my final answer right there. All you're doing is substituting your A, B, and C into the standard form equation. Okay, let's go to another problem. Pretty simple. Hopefully this is a gimme for you on the test. They're going to ask you for the value of C. We need to complete the square. How do we do this? Well, to find C, you say B divided by 2, and then you square it. So what's our B value? Our B value is negative 9. So I'm going to say C equals negative 9 divided by 2. And then what are we going to do? We're going to square it. So when I square this, what is negative 9 times negative 9? That's going to give us a positive 81. When you square this, what is 2 times 2? 4. There is my C value. My C value is going to be 81 over 4. So if it's an odd number, you need to expect a fraction. Okay? You need to be ready for this. Hint, hint. All right, next question. Write the equation in vertex form using the transformations. Okay? So, vertex form. So we're going to use these transformations. It says I'm going to have a horizontal shift left. It says I'm going to have a vertical reflection. It says I'm going to have a vertical compression by 1/3. So I'm going to work this left to right. It says I have a vertical reflection, which gets me a negative sign. It's going to say I have a vertical compression by 1/3. And it says I have a horizontal shift left 6. That means we're going to put it inside the parentheses. And we're thinking the opposite here. So if we go left 6, we're going to say that this is going to be x plus 6. It does not say anything else, so I'm not going to write anything else. We're done. That is your answer. Okay? Next problem. Let's see if there's one more at the bottom real quick. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope, we're good. Okay, so number 14. It says find the following items for each equation. We need to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the minimum and the maximum, that value, and then the x-intercepts. The easiest way for us to do this, to find everything we need for the most part, is we're going to put this in the calculator. All right, so we're going to go to the calculator. We're going to find all this stuff. Okay, so in our calculator, the equation that we're going to input, 2x squared minus 8x plus 3. 2x squared minus 8x plus 3. We're going to hit enter. There's my graph. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my vertex, because my vertex is going to tell me a lot of things when I find it. Okay? So what we're going to do to speed this up, we're going to say menu. We're going to say analyze. There's more than one way to do this. We're going to find a minimum, because that's at the very bottom. We're going to find the minimum. We're going to go to the left. We're going to go to the right, and we're going to find our minimum. And our minimum is going to be 2, -5. Actually, that's not the minimum. That is our vertex. Okay, so we have found the vertex. You're going to say that the vertex is going to be 2, -5. Now, what else have we found? We have found our axis of symmetry. Our axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 2. What else have we found? We have also found with this -5, and we're opening downward. Okay, this is a minimum. I mean, we're opening upward. This is way down here. Since we're opening upward, this is a minimum value. So we're going to say minimum, and then we're going to look in this spot, the y spot. We know what the vertex is HK, but we also treat it as the y spot. And the y goes up and down, so we're going to say the minimum is going to be at -5. So when you find the vertex, you have found a lot of stuff. This is also going to help us find the range later on when I ask you about the range. But two more things I need to find. I need to find these two x-intercepts. All right, so here's the way we're going to do this. We're going to say menu. We're going to say analyze. We're going to look for a 0, and we're going to go to the left, to the right, and that tells me we're right here. There's one of them. I'm at 0.419, comma 0. We're going to find this other guy, and we're going to say menu, analyze, 0, to the left of it, to the right of it, and there is my other one. These are my two x-intercepts. Notice how they're written as ordered pairs. 0.419, comma 0, 3.58, comma 0. So there's my vertex, my axis of symmetry. It is a minimum. There's my minimum value. Here are my x-intercepts. Good? All right, moving forward, let's going to go back to our paper. We have found all of these things. So we're going to go to the next problem. It says, write each equation in vertex form. Vertex form means we're going to look like this. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. To do this, to convert from standard to vertex form, we're going to have to complete the square. All right, so to complete the square, my first step is I need to have a blank for us to complete. So my first step is I'm going to ask you to put an equal sign, and I'm going to ask you to move the 98 to the other side. How do you do that? We're going to go minus 98, minus 98. This will leave me with 3x squared plus 36x plus blank. I have a gap now because I moved my 98, equals a negative 98. We're going to put a blank here because whatever we add to this side, we're going to add to this side, okay? I want to get my x squared by itself. I need to get the x squared by itself. So in this case, I need to factor out the 3. I'm going to factor away the 3. That's going to leave me with x squared plus 12x plus blank equals negative 98 plus blank. Now here's the thing we need to remember. If I factor, I will have to bounce. This is where Coach Reeves is a little bit different than most teachers, but if I factor out this 3, I'm going to bounce. I'm going to have to bounce this 3 here to here. All right, so we keep working. Next step, we're going to ask you to take half. What is half of 12? Half of 12 is a positive 6. We're going to put this, we need to square this, because half of b is 6. We're going to square it. 6 times 6 is 36. Now remember what I said, we're going to have to bounce this, because we factored we're going to have to bounce this. So what is 3 times 36? 3 times 36 turns out to be 108. We bring down everything else. We're going to bring down our 3. We're going to bring down our parentheses. We're going to bring down our x and our squared. Because this is the factored form of this trinomial. This is the factored form of this trinomial. Equals negative 98 plus 108 will give us a positive 10. We're almost through. All I need you to do is I need you to bring this 10 back home. How do I move it back to the other side? Minus 10, minus 10. So what are we looking at? I bring down my y equals. I have 3x plus 6 squared minus 10. That is your vertex form. Because you look at this and you could tell me what the vertex is. You could tell me that my vertex in this problem, if I ask you, is a negative 6 comma negative 10. That's how you know that you're in vertex form. All right, next problem. Determine the range in interval notation. Okay, in interval notation. Well, to determine the range, we need to figure out what the vertex is. So we're going to put this in the calculator. I know you can do it by hand, but we're also just going to let you use the calculator since we've already done it by hand. Okay? If you want to use it by hand, we're going to say that x equals the opposite of b over 2a. And then we'll take our x value and we can substitute it in for the 2x values. But we're going to go to the calculator because you like to use the calculator, and we're going to put it in. So we're going to go to our calculator and we're going to say, let me erase this right here. And we're going to say a new document, not going to save it, and we need a graph. This is our equation. We're doing problem number 17 on the review. We're going to input this. We're going to say a negative 2x squared plus 12x minus 20. My graph looks like this. I need to find this vertex. In this case, since it's opening downward, this vertex will be a maximum value. We're going to say menu, analyze. We're going to look for a maximum value. To the left, to the right, and there is our maximum value. 3 comma negative 2. Actually, that is our vertex. We have just found the vertex. So we go back with 3 negative 2. We found out our vertex is going to be at 3 negative 2. We're going to say that my graph, because this is a negative, because that is a negative, my graph is opening downward. If it's opening downward, that means my y values are going down, my y values are getting lesser. And what is that y value, that maximum value? That maximum value is a negative 2. There's your range, but that's as an inequality. I need it in what? I need it in interval notation. We're going to say that the y is going to bring out the infinity symbol. And since we're going down forever, that will be negative infinity. And then the high point will be a negative 2, which always is going to get the hard bracket. There is your interval notation. That's your range in interval notation. Okay? Next problem. Determine the a value for each equation. It's just a spin on what we did on the very first of the review, but we just want the a value only. Okay? So the a value only is like this. We say that y equals a x minus minus h squared plus k. We're looking for that guy only. All we want is the a value. So then we substitute in and we say that y equals a. We take the opposite. We got x minus 7 squared minus 10. We substitute in our point that is on the graph that it passes through. And this is an x and this is a y. So we're going to say that negative 73 equals, I still don't know what my a value is, but my x value is 10. Minus 7 squared minus 10. Okay? We said that we did not want to be tempted, so we're going to go plus 10, plus 10. This is going to cancel. That's going to leave me with a negative 63 equals a. What do I have here? I have 10 minus 7. 10 minus 7 is going to leave me with a 3, and I need to square it. 3 squared is how much? Well, it turns out that 3 squared is 9. So I have negative 63 equals 9 times a, or 9a, however you want to look at it. I need to move the 9 to the other side. We're going to divide by 9, and you're going to tell me that my a value equals what? Negative 7. There is my a value right there. All right, next problem. Almost done. They want me to find the k value of the vertex. Remember that the vertex is going to be h, comma, k. So they want me to find the k value. So what are we going to do? We're going to put this in the calculator. We're going to make it quick and easy. Just find the vertex, and then we're going to find the k value. So on the calculator, we're going to clear this out. And we're going to say new. No, we're not going to save it. We're going to put in a new graph. And this is problem number 21 that we're working on the calculator. So we're going to put in 2x squared, 2x squared minus 16x plus 29. Make sure we put it in correctly. We hit enter. And what are we looking for? We're looking for, in this case, this is a minimum value, but we know it's going to be our vertex. So we're going to say menu, analyze. This is going to be a minimum. We go to the left, to the right, and there is our value. And what are we looking at? 4, negative 3. This is your h, this is your k. So in this case, what is my k value? My k value is negative 3. That's what we were asking. We had it 4, comma, negative 3, and we know that this k equals negative 3. Got it? All right. Last problem. Write an equation in standard form using the given zeros. So my zeros are 1/3 and 4. What we're going to ask you to do to put it in standard form there's standard form for us. I'm going to ask you to put these back in the parentheses. These are zeros. We're going to put these back in the parentheses. So we're thinking opposite. Remember how we did this in class? You're thinking opposite. What is the opposite of a positive 1? The opposite of a positive 1 is a negative 1. Let's change this to blue. Is a negative 1. And then we're going to ask you to push this back in front of the x where it was. So 1/3, you're going to take the opposite, push the 3 back in front of the x. There's your first parentheses. Second parentheses, what is the opposite of a positive 4? Minus 4. This 0 came from x minus 4. All we need you to do is to multiply, and then you'll be back in standard form. So we're going to do distributive property. We're going to say that 3x times x is 3x squared. We're going to say that 3x times a negative 4 is negative 12x. Negative 1 times x is a negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 4 is a positive 4. We will combine like terms in the middle, and you're going to tell me that my final answer is going to be y equals 3x squared. Let's move this up just a little bit. Negative 12x minus 1x is a negative 13x plus 4. Now we're in standard form. There is your final answer. Okay? That's half of the review. And that was kind of quick, but you could pause it, rewind it, do what you need to do. But the main thing is you need to attempt the rest of the problems on your own. It's okay to get stuck, and that's why you tap into your resources of your teachers or your friend or maybe another video guy does it better than I do. Okay? But you need to make sure that you understand this so you're prepared for your test. All right? Let us know if you have any questions. Good luck.